right, welcome to another episode of Academic Writing Tips. I am Lee A. Hall. If you have a question about academic writing, you can email me, leahall39@gmail.com, and feel free to check out my blog, leahall.wordpress.com. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about a tool that I use and love. It is the Writer's Notebook, and this is something that I have probably been doing ever since I was a teenager, honestly, and it's a habit that has really served me well, and I have transitioned it into academic writing, and it works beautifully. So this is my version of what writer's notebooks are and why I use them. So first of all, I always get a notebook for any project or paper that I'm writing. I also have notebooks, by the way, for classes that I'm teaching. And so each research project or a paper or class gets its own notebook. Okay, and these don't have to be anything fancy. They can be as cheap or as fancy as you want to make them. I get mine at Target. I just get what I like, what speaks to me, and usually I sometimes don't even spend more than a couple of bucks on them. Right? They're just standard, notebooks, nothing big. And so when I'm working on a particular project, like today I was working on a paper, and so I have my notebook that goes with my paper, and I pulled it out. And I actually didn't use my notebook too much today. Some days I use it more than others. Some days I use it to reference things that I have written in it. Some days I write in it alongside what I'm writing on my laptop, right on my paper. It's an ebb and flow kind of a thing, okay? So this is what I do with my notebook. I make notes in my notebook, obviously, right? But for a research paper, I like to write out what are my thoughts about my findings, what ideas am I having, and I like to write my argument out by hand, or if I have multiple arguments, right? I write them all out. There is something to me, and you'll see this under benefits, that really helps me process it. When I write the argument out, I might verbalize it at first out loud and then write it down. And then when I see it written down, just the act of going through that helps me really refine it, helps me work out the language. And then, yes, I will transfer that eventually into my laptop, into a digital format. And I may use exactly what I wrote, but I may also revise it, clean it up a little bit. So it helps me process what I'm doing. I also like to take notes about articles relevant to my work. So there will be times when during a project, research project, or writing a paper where my writing block is actually spent reading. So I'm reading things that I need to build up background knowledge or answer questions or maybe better understand my findings. But I'm taking notes, right? If the article is really worth keeping around and it seems like it's really relevant to what I'm doing, I have a section in my notebook where I'm taking notes on that article so that when I get to the point where I want to write up my conclusion section or I'm writing my introduction or a lit review, I've already processed a lot of this information. I have notes on it. It's written down. So I just have to open up my notebook and start rereading that, and my brain will get back into it, and it's great. Obviously, it's a nice place to keep track of questions, right? If I think I'm seeing things in my data, but I'm not sure, and I don't have time to go through and do an analysis related to the question that I have, I can make a to-do list. Can you do this online in in some kind of digital document? Yes, you can. But again, I like having my notebook. I like hand writing it because I think it helps me process my ideas. But also, it is really easy to take with me on the road. And although I put that under how I use it, it really is a benefit because I can take this notebook with me anywhere, right? And it's small enough it fits in my bag. And if I wake up in the middle of the night and have an idea, I can write it down. If I'm traveling and want to bring it with me, I can. It doesn't matter if there's internet access. It doesn't matter if my laptop is, charged. Nothing matters, right? I can just whip this thing out, whip out my notebook anywhere and write down any thought that I have. And it's really, really easy. I like to write out draft sentences. So sometimes I will when I'm writing a paper, I will get a flood of ideas or sentences, right, that I want to include in my draft. And it's so much easier for me to write them on paper and get them down really quick than to try to type it in. Maybe that's just me. But again, right, as I'm writing that out, I feel like I'm able to capture it better. I'm processing it. It's just a really nice way to help me work through the ideas in my paper. Also, under benefits, all my ideas are in one place. And like I said, they're portable. It's in a notebook. It's really easy to take around. And it's a record of my thinking. So even though what's in a notebook about a paper or a project doesn't necessarily get published or ever see the light of day, it's still highly useful because it's really helped me think through the things that I need to think through and process ideas and get me to the next level of where I need to be. So I love the writer's notebook. I actually look forward to getting them when I'm starting a new paper or project. It's like a little treat that I get to get for myself. It's a special thing for me. So think about it, give it a shot. Tell me what you think. If you have a question, you can contact me, leahall39@gmail.com, and check out my blog, leahall.wordpress.com, where I talk about issues of teaching in higher education.